This is inspired because I've come to realize I do have a younger audience that watches my channel, and one of them I was talking to recently, and I asked her, what are the things that you guys struggle with, like the peers, like what are the things that teenagers are really struggling with, or young people are really struggling with? And she was like, sex. She's like, people just keep just having just sex all the time with random guys and stuff, and they just do it because everyone else is doing it, and they're not really thinking about it. And she was like, it would be nice if you can, talk about it and give advice on it. And I thought, yeah, perfect. I want to say, you cannot be sleeping with Tom, Dick, and Jonah. You can't do that. You can't do that. And you need to give value to sex. You need to give sex meaning, right? Once you give sex meaning, then you're not just going to give your body to anyone. Like, you will start to think about who you want to have those special moments. Because when you're naked, you're your most vulnerable, right? And you don't want to just be your most vulnerable with just anyone, because not everyone has good intentions, right? So some guys will want to bag you, and they'll brag about it, right? They'll brag, oh, I scored, and tell their friends. And some guys are even as bad as, you can try it, but you got what I want. And then so the problem is, when you're sleeping around when you're younger, when you're older, you will come to a point in your life where you want to get married, you want to settle down, but you see, your reputation is still intact and it still follows you. You can change as much as possible, but it's really hard to shake off your reputation, because you'll always be known as that girl that was a slut, that was sleeping around. And it's so sad that sleeping around affects us as women more than it does men. Like, men don't really have that reputation if they are whores when they're older, but as women it just affects us. So when you start to think about, like, what you do now basically will affect you in the long run. So you need to think about the steps that you're taking. Relationships should be more about your spiritual connection, your emotional connection, your mental connection, and your physical connection. You should save that for someone who's really, really worthy of that. And I mean, in an ideal world, you would be a virgin until you get married, but we don't live in an ideal world. So just consider that sex is something of value, and you just don't give it out and dish it out to any Tom, Dick, and Jonah. You cannot be that girl, You can't. And I found like the best way to because I love analogies. And so I was watching Tiffany Haddish. She's a comedian and she's an actress. She's the girl that was in the film Girl Trip. And she talks about what her grandma taught her about how to view her body. And so she says she views her body as an expensive house. And her grandma basically told her that if you see yourself as a house, then, every man wants to come in the house, right? But you can't let every man come in your house, because then your house will be known as the cock house. So you have to be careful and selective of who's coming into your house. But during that time, when you're taking your time, you also have to make sure that you're looking after yourself, keeping things looking prim and proper. But there'll be that one man who will see that you are of value and will really love you and will put a ring on it and buy the house. And that's the man that, you should be looking for. The man that's willing to buy that house. So consider yourself as an expensive house, and you just can't let any Tom, Dick, and Jonah in and out. Do you understand? So sex comes with a lot of responsibility, right? So you open yourself up to a chance of you having a bad reputation if you continue sleeping around. You open yourself up to getting diseases, and some are irreversible. HIV is real. You've got herpes, HPV. Those are irreversible. They're incurable. You can't fix that. you open yourself up to getting pregnant when you're not ready. So sex comes with a lot of responsibility. So when you're having sex, remember, you could catch a disease, you could end up getting pregnant, you could end up having this guy ending up bragging and telling the whole world how he scored with you. So just be careful who you're letting in your house. Thank you so much for listening, and tune in next week.